and welcome to your favorite weekly series from Progress Virginia. This is the Richmond Recap, and I'm your host, Kimberly Nario. Y'all, it is Friday, and we are about to complete our last full week of session, which also means that this right here is our last episode. We are at the end of the line, but before we walk into that warm glow, let's get into these updates. As always, let's start with criminal justice reform. Breaking up is hard to do, but not when it comes to the death penalty. Both House and Senate bills to abolish the death penalty have passed both chambers. So we are all in agreement. We are consciously uncoupling with capital punishment. Cheers to our toxic ex. See you never. Another thing we'd like to leave behind is mandatory minimums. While the House requested a conference committee on the Senate bill, the Senate did pass the House bill with an amendment. Sound confusing? Basically, both chambers are still working it out, and we've just got to be patient. Something we're cozying up to is expungement. And you might be seeing double because the Senate and House bills are now identical and have passed both chambers. So, if like us, you're into cutting racism out of the criminal justice system and strengthening our democracy, you must be very, very excited. Still in conference, both the House and Senate marijuana omnibus bills. We are patiently waiting for this one as we know getting these bills to the governor's desk is the right move. Pot, we're rooting for you. One bill we will definitely see on the governor's desk is HB 1990, the bill that will provide a vehicle to request racial and ethnic impact statements for criminal justice legislation. The Senate amendments were accepted by the House, and y'all, we really need criminal justice reform, and this is a huge part of that. In voting rights news, the House bill to prohibit discrimination in voting and elections administration, the Voting Rights Act of Virginia, passed the Senate. So leave your discrimination at the door for every election moving forward, okay? But really, just get rid of it because it doesn't belong anywhere. Get ready for absentee voting to become more accessible because both the Senate and House bills have officially passed in both chambers. These bills will make things like ballot drop boxes and prepaid postage for absentee ballots permanent fixtures in all elections from here on out. Such a good idea, it makes you wonder why this wasn't a thing sooner. Social distancing during election time will be made much easier with the bill to eliminate the need for a witness signature on absentee ballots, SB 1097. The Senate agreed to the House amendment, meaning you can truly be the most independent of voters. We can also look forward to early voting on Sundays, as the House bill passed on the Senate floor late last week. With all this good news, Virginia is looking ready to break another record for our best voter turnout yet. Moving on to constitutional amendments, both Senate and House resolutions to remove the same-sex marriage prohibition from the Virginia Constitution and guarantee the fundamental right to marry for all have passed in both chambers. You grab the champagne, I'll grab the glasses. Still in conference committee are the bills for rights restoration and ending felony disenfranchisement. Rights restoration makes our democracy stronger, and if certain events from the past few years have told us anything, it's that we need to do everything we can to build a stronger democracy. So let's start here. We can all start to recognize racism as a public health crisis because the House Joint Resolution passed in the Senate. Not sure why that's necessary? Check out our TikTok in the comments. Over in Immigrant Rights, the House bill dealing with privacy protections when it comes to the Department of Motor Vehicles passed the Senate floor with an amendment, so we'll see that one back in the House. This bill helps protect all of us, but especially our undocumented neighbors, as HB 2163 also requires ICE to have a warrant before accessing anyone's DMV data. Taking a look at workers' rights, a bill to make workplace harassment unlawful died in the Senate Judiciary on Monday. A moment of silence while I think all the things that I can't say out loud about this. Another bill that won't make it to the governor's desk, the Farm Workers Minimum Wage Bill. As a reminder, farm workers are among those excluded from Virginia minimum wage. And let's do another moment of silence while I wonder if the majority of farm workers were white, would this bill pass? Some good news, finally. The House bill that extends protections from the Virginia Human Rights Act to domestic workers has passed in the Senate. Big congrats to everyone on the ground who fought to get this through. And the Paid Sick Days bill passed, allowing home health care workers to receive this much-needed benefit. Let's take a look at education bills. Public higher educational institutions can no longer discriminate based on someone's criminal history, making higher ed a little more accessible to everyone. Welcome to 2021, where Virginia is all about inclusion and access to opportunity. Onward to healthcare. Access to hormonal contraceptives just got a little easier with the Senate bill to allow people on Medicaid to get a year's supply of hormonal birth control at one time, passing in both chambers. The bill for COVID testing, treatment, and vaccination to be deemed as emergency services, HB 2124, passed the Senate with amendment, so we'll need the House to sign off on this one. And hopefully they'll give it the same approval they gave the bill to create the Task Force on Maternal Health Data and Quality Measures. This bill, which passed unanimously, would evaluate maternal health data collection processes to guide policies in the Commonwealth to improve maternal care, quality, and outcomes for all birthing people in the Commonwealth. This bill helps us all, but especially Black women who are more likely to die from pregnancy-related complications. Do y'all feel the progress happening here? Because we sure do. And on the housing rights front, the Virginia Residential Landlord and Tenant Act is in a conference committee as the Senate insisted on the amendment that the House rejected. Let's hope everyone can play nice and pass these tenant protections ASAP. Please and thank you. Its partner bill that deals with landlord remedies and noncompliance with rental agreements, HB 1889, passed both chambers. This bill extends the time landlords must wait before terminating a rental agreement after non-payment from a tenant. For the record, we are still living in a pandemic. No one should be forced to vacate their home regardless of non-payment. We don't make the rules, but we're glad Delegate Price proposed this one. And lastly, the House agreed to the Senate amendments on the bill that would prohibit a landlord from accepting full payment of rent and then proceeding with an eviction filing. So HB 2014 will make its way to the governor's desk. And sketchy landlords across the land can make their way to the couch where they're invited to take a seat. Now, for our heroes and zeros. Our final hero this week is Delegate Sia Price for speaking the truth about the previous administration, the current state of the pandemic, and how both have affected Virginians across the Commonwealth. While others seem to be going down a path of revisionist history, it's nice to know that there's someone out there who is truly looking out for Virginians across the Commonwealth. A quick update on an issue from one of our previous zeros of the week. If you recall, about 2 weeks ago, Senator Donovan was so offended by the word labor, believing it sounded too union-related, that she insisted the position Secretary of Labor be changed to Secretary of Workforce. Well, too bad for that zero. The conference committee is going with labor. Now for the real zero of the week, Senator Joe Morrissey, who for some reason felt the need to attempt to stand in the way of racial and ethnic impact statements for criminal justice legislation. Before jumping on something like this again, consider examining your white privilege. It's no surprise that when the General Assembly concludes, "We will not miss you, Joe." Now, a quick shout out to you, all of you, the Richmond Recap royalty. Thank you for watching and going on this General Assembly journey with us. Follow us here on Facebook, as well as Instagram, Twitter, and of course, TikTok. And hey, it was nice having your mug around.